to the Psalm 33 podcast. I'm Ewan.
And I'm Nick, and today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for your service. But we got a question sent in from my mom. She said, my mommy, she said, what are we doing after we graduate high school? Because we're seniors right now.
Yeah.
And we currently help out at youth group. But yeah, Ewan, what are you going to do when we graduate?
So, my plan right now is I'm going to be working right out of high school. I'm going to find a job and I'm going to take a gap year and kind of work, save up some money. And then I really feel like I've been called to go to a school of worship ministry. So I'm going to probably looking at California to go somewhere for that.
Yeah, Cali's pretty breezy.
Yeah. And so I think that's kind of where God's calling me. And then, I'm just trusting him to, show me what to do after that. But that's what I know I got to do now. So, yeah.
I'm going to go to college, community college for 2 years for engineering. And I'll still be in the area and help out at youth.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to get to UConn.
Yeah.
I don't have to go over there, though.
Yeah, that's our thing. We're although we have plans after high school and stuff for at least the year after we graduate, we're still going to be pouring into our youth group and really focusing on training up the next kids in youth to kind of take over when we leave and stuff. So.
Amen.
And hopefully the podcast can help with that. Like I hope some of the kids in our youth group are listening to the podcast and really want to take a hold of taking over, just like Dom this past week.
Oh yeah, he wants to play drums again, right?
Yeah, and he listened to the podcast, and I think there's something very attractive about like having something so accessible like a podcast, or that kind of gets people excited because it shows we really do take it seriously. Yeah. And we really love doing it too.
Yeah, it's really fun. So, what songs have you listened to? What's your favorite worship song this week?
Dude, so to be honest, been listening to Chris Tomlin dropped, how he dropped
Chris Tomlin, the GOAT.
the benchmark. How he dropped the Holy Roar album early this year? No, it's the album with Nobody Loves Me Like You and Is He Worthy? The song we played in church?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he dropped that, but then he just dropped Holy Roar live from church. Ooh. And he recorded it in a small church.
Oh, that's nice.
With like a smaller congregation, and they like mic'd up the congregation, and it just sounds like so massive.
It's nice. I'll check that out.
It's so nice. So I've been listening to Nobody Loves Me Like You on that underrated banger, TBH. And then Is He Worthy is super good. Major sleeper on the album. Goodness, Love, and Mercy, dude. So nice. There's this gospel breakdown in the middle on the keys. Oh, it's so nice. But yeah.
Probably play that at youth one week.
That's definitely been the soundtrack of my crappy week.
Yeah, Ewan's having a tough time. It's okay.
But so have you.
Yeah.
Picking up sticks.
Yeah, we're sad. Yeah. Anyway, my favorite song is probably Thank You, Jesus. We just played it this Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a good song. Or The Stand. Those two we played. The guitar parts are so spicy.
My gosh, dude, you killed it this past week.
Did I really?
Dude, it sounded so good. No.
I don't know. My amp is kind of low, though.
Yeah, dude, I noticed that after the first song. I was like, Nick's kind of low.
I turned around and turned up the volume, but I don't know what happened. It was really low.
Just don't know.
I was so.
It was fine during practice, and then
I was so confused. I started playing. I was like, "What's going on, dude?"
Yeah. Well, so let's get right into our topic for today. We want to talk about preparing your service for youth group. So the very first thing, I guess, kind of starts with during the week, preferably, like, I try to do it as early as possible.
Yeah. We should get a 2 weeks thing going on.
What, like give them an advance 2 weeks?
Yeah, because
that's
helps.
Something to look into.
It really does help.
Yeah.
You guys too, in your church, people are probably really busy, so they don't have like a lot of time. So if you give them like 2 weeks, in advance, then they could really have time to sit down and practice the song.
Yeah, especially because people are super busy and,
Yeah.
you know, they're working around their lives to, you know,
Yeah.
be there and serve. Yeah, I think that's something we could look into doing, start doing 2 weeks and stuff. I think how it starts is usually around Sunday, Saturday, just kind of like listening. I'm always trying to listen to new worship music to
Yeah.
introduce, and really going through lyrics and, you know, praying, you know, like just praying about what God wants to bring to the table
Yeah.
for worship each week, and then I'll assemble a set list accordingly. We usually play around 3 to 4 songs. Sometimes we'll do a song at the end that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And we like to pick songs from the previous week too. That really went well.
Yeah, especially if we're introducing a new song,
Yeah.
we'll play it a few weeks in a row just to get people used to it
Yeah.
and, yeah, get them to learn it. So I think with assembling your set list, we usually, obviously, a call to worship, faster song at the beginning,
Yeah.
you know, kind of just your straightforward, nothing too crazy,
Yeah.
but
We played Lion and the Lamb.
yeah, Lion
Yeah.
and the Lamb. Our examples are like Lion and the Lamb, This Is Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
Um,
Alive.
no, no. Here for You, Matt Redman.
Yeah.
What else do we play? Sometimes we'll do Yes and Amen. Oh, Our God by Chris Tomlin. That's a good opener. We actually they opened with that today at church.
Yep.
But then so yeah, I'll you know, I'm in communication with Nick throughout the week. We're kind of assembling a set list, and then
Yeah.
in terms of keys and stuff, it's harder people think it is, I think. Just because if I want to give a song for one of our female vocalists to sing, I have to like be in communications with
Yeah.
them about their range and where they can
Yeah.
sing the song. But yeah, and picking keys, it's like there's a way to do it. Like you don't want to. It's good to have 2 songs in the same key sometimes because it'll flow really well.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop in some cases, but obviously I don't think playing every song in the same key is great, and I don't
Yeah.
think playing every song in completely different opposite ends of the spectrum kind of thing is great either.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have one song that kind of goes into another song really well, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but that's what we try and do. Next, let's talk about assigning parts to your team.
Yeah. Well, I play the lead guitar, so when we look for parts, we don't want to pick parts that are like too big and too loud,
Yeah.
because we do like an acoustic set.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly just single note lead lines, but I'm trying to think.
Well, I guess like what you said about playing full parts, like we try not to really throw on the drive and
yeah.
you know, kick it and just play like really loud, like, because I think you need a bassist and
Yeah.
a kit for that kind of thing. We try and keep like ambient lines,
Single note lead lines.
yeah, swells,
Yeah.
lots of swells.
Swelling, and just on big choruses, just play diamonds.
Yeah. If y'all don't know what diamonds is, we're basically we mean every measure. You just play the chord out once, and you know, you throw a bigger reverb on that, and it carries out, and it sounds great.
And a slide drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of, I think when I give Nick, me and Nick kind of look for, you know, guitar lines together and how we can kind of complement each other's playing, and then we practice it throughout the week. I think, you know, practicing it throughout the week, I think, is super important. Don't ever just think, oh, I'll just wait till.
Yeah, you gotta practice at home, because
Yeah.
you can't just go to church and say if everyone's prepared and you're there and you're trying to learn the song, it's not gonna turn out right.
It's also not fair for the people who have prepared, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and that goes for everyone. Like, we guitarists, we got to learn our parts, we got to learn our chords, we got to learn our lines. It goes the same way for singers.
Yeah.
You got to know your words, like you got to know your harmonies, what you're going to sing.
Yeah. Like, if I already know the set list, how to play the songs at home, I just try to learn different chord voicings and how to play in different keys.
Yeah.
So it's just easier down the
If
road.
you know the songs, like, it doesn't mean that you can't practice. Like,
Yeah.
you should practice and, like what Nick said, expand your knowledge on your instrument with
Yeah.
those songs because you already know them. So try and master them, and like learn new voicings and all that
With
stuff.
the guitar too. I'm not the greatest player to be on a lead.
You're pretty spicy.
I don't know about that.
You're pretty
So-
saucy, dude.
Like, so we play Lion and the Lamb, and I already know how to play that song because we played it so many times so far.
Yeah.
So I just go on YouTube, look up different like blues guitar stuff, and
Yeah.
like learn how to like pick, like play different riffs and pick the notes better and get faster at playing,
Yeah.
so that it gets easier to play these songs.
Yeah. Especially songs like Lion and the Lamb, if you guys know the lead
Yeah.
line.
I still mess up every now and
It's a
then.
little finger twister.
Yeah.
But yeah, and practice throughout the week, really take time on it. I'd suggest like probably, I don't know, sit down, whether it's the night before or 2 nights before, and give it a good like 1 to 2 hours and really
Yeah.
just focus on mastering those songs. And then when you come into youth, like, because I guess when you don't practice and you're worried about it the night off, the night like we have youth group,
Yeah.
it takes away from the worship experience too, because you can't
Yeah.
really worship. You're just kind of focused on, I gotta play this,
Mhm. Yeah. So we play on Thursdays. So I'd like sit down on like Tuesday, because that's like I have-
Tuesday?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
Tuesday. And I just go on YouTube and look up tutorials for the songs, or
Yeah.
look up the chord charts, and I just sit there, try to dial in a nice tone,
Yeah.
and just try to like, I try to learn all the parts of the song.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we play youth group, I don't play all the parts.
Yeah.
So it's good to know all the parts that you're prepared to go out there and do your best.
Yeah. And I also think like for lead players, guys playing electric like Nick, when you're practicing in our kind of broken down setup with just acoustic and cajon, like Nick said, we're not playing every line. So we'll look at 3 or 4 tutorials,
Yeah.
and like we'll listen to the song over and over from the record, and we'll kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
Sometimes we won't play like what one guitarist is playing on the record for the whole song.
Yeah.
We'll take bits and pieces from guitarist 1 and guitarist 2, and we'll kind of mash it together.
But when
Until
you
we
have
find
2 guitarists, you can use each. So
Yeah. So like, and we're always looking for new guitarists and
Yeah.
new musicians and stuff. But then when it comes to the actual night of youth, we practice before youth. We practice at around our youth group starts at 6:30. So yeah, we'll usually start practice at 5:30. We'll practice, we'll get the songs down. When you're practicing right before, really practice like it is the real thing,
Yeah.
Play all your parts like you're going to play them with just as much effort and just the style of play. Like, it's easy to in practice play it lightly and not really be playing your instrument as energetically and as hard as you would. I think I do that a lot. Like in practice, I won't realize that I'm not strumming my guitar as much as or singing as loud
yeah.
as I would for the actual
Yeah, me
worship
too.
set.
Sometimes I just like stare at my guitar. I don't even look up.
Yeah, I
Which
think
is important.
I think there's that energy that the actual set brings.
Yeah.
So, and when there's that energy, you play harder and you sing louder, and there's
Yeah.
So just try and bring that into your practice time.
Yeah.
I would suggest.
Oh yeah, and work on your transitions too, from each song,
Yeah.
from like the first, second, and third, because that
Yeah.
really helps actually when you're performing, so no one's confused on what's happening.
Yeah. Big thing to work on in practice is there's always that thing of how are we going to do the intro of this song, and that's huge for your band. Really be
Yeah.
on the same page. If we're gonna bounce back on the 1 to the 4, that's pretty common. Like we'll play the 1 chord to the 4 chord.
Yeah.
back and forth and then we'll start, or whether it's we're playing the same chord progression as the first verse before we go into that. Just be clear with your team, like what you guys are doing, because that's how you can really train wreck a song. Like
and if you're playing, you don't want to like say, oh, can we go over this? Just ask to go over that one part again.
Yeah,
because it will help.
Yeah, guys, don't be afraid of like going over stuff. Like I think people, some people are a little shyer and don't want to say like, can we go over this again? But just do it, because trust me, it's gonna save you a lot of like hassle. But yeah, so just being in communication with each other and really saying, this is how we're gonna start the song, this is how we're gonna end the song. This is how we're gonna break down. It really helps you work on your dynamic a little more. Like, when do we want to be all in and big, and when do we want to bring it back? A big thing for us, we do a lot of soft choruses, meaning we'll sing a song and then at the end we'll wrap it with a soft chorus, mostly on like the third song usually.
Or the second. But it's really important to just like equip your musicians with like prior to the practice of like what's gonna happen that night. Like, you guys use like Planning Center on Sundays? And that like tells you like,
we have notes for all the musicians, what we want, what we want from them, and Ben puts that out each week, and it just helps everyone kind of hone in on their practice time. So then that kind of leads into, how do you bring the most out of your practice time? I think it's the same thing with kind of like, sometimes we don't make time for reading our Bible or praying. There's also, you got to make time for practicing your worship set. You have to set aside a time for yourself, otherwise you won't get around to it.
That happens to me.
It's one of those things,
because like after school or work or something, I just want to like go to bed, not want to play at all, but I just like push myself to get up and learn the songs, and I stand up when I play my guitar too. It's just don't sit down and practice.
You're not going to do that for the real thing. But I think really set that time aside and practice as if you were in practice for like when you're practicing with your team. Really focus on learning your lines, being able to play them forwards and backwards, just knowing what you have to play. And that literally just comes with time. You'll learn your parts backwards and forwards if you give it the effort and you give it the time.
You gotta give it time. And I spend time like on my pedal board, just trying to like set it up so that it's faster and a lot cleaner. And I like stand up and I play with the music on, and I like interact with my pedal board as if I was performing on stage.
That's
practice,
huge.
like, so I know like what I'm pressing and what I'm doing on Sunday.
Because all y'all lead players, that's a lot of buttons. Just kind of run through a song as if you were playing the, don't just practice, okay, now I'm going to practice the chorus. Now I'm going to practice bridge. When you've done all that, practice the whole song. Just go through it. And, that'll get you familiar with what you have to do with your pedal board for that song.
The tempo of the song.
Keeping time and stuff like that. In terms of, like, for me, playing acoustic guitar, it's a lot of, what voicings am I going to bring out with this song? With me and Nick, because we're both playing guitar, we're trying not to play on the same spectrum of like the fretboard. So if we're, for example, if we're playing a song in F sharp, right? Nick might play in the key of C and capo, or the key of D and capo, or even the key of E and capo up. And for me, F sharp is super handy for me, because if y'all don't know, I tune my whole guitar down a half step. So, it's just like a preference thing. Some other worship leaders do it, and it just kind of, I like the sound of it. It kind of just
sounds so good.
It just kind of makes the guitar sound more open if you just tune all the strings down a half step. So meaning, to play an F sharp for me, I'm playing in the easiest key ever, which is G. But because I'm a half step down, I'm actually playing in the key of F sharp, but I'm playing the G shapes. So like another example, if a song is in E flat, I'm just playing an E. you know?
Yeah.
And I think that also helps with, because I wouldn't say I have the highest range of voice. I think I can get up there for
You
some
can
songs.
sing, dude.
Yeah, but I don't have the range of
Yeah.
of a lot of worship leaders. So when I have the ability to, if a song is in G, but I'm kind of straining a little bit, but I still want those G voicings, I'll just go no capo, and I'm playing an F sharp, but I'm still getting those voicings because
Yeah, and as the electro player, I play different voicings, so it doesn't really sound the same.
Yeah,
way.
you can get really muddy really
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
if you're playing in the same spectrum of each other, and it just, you want that diverse sound, and that's like part of what dynamics is.
Yep.
So if we're building a bridge, at the start of the bridge, Nick is probably playing something higher up,
Yeah.
like when we're playing the first bridge. Then when we really start building it, Nick kind of moves down the fretboard because we're building it, we're getting bigger, there's
Yeah. Usually,
sound gets bigger.
like, if there's like a lead line, I'd play it just like soft, and then
Yeah.
when it gets bigger, I'd put on a drive, and then start actually hitting the notes harder and harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's different with each band, so kind of you guys will have to work out with your team, like how are we gonna serve this song in a particular way, where we're playing different things and we're kind of making it as big as we can, because that's what we're doing when we when if Nick is playing the higher stuff on the guitar and I'm playing the lower stuff, or if I'm playing the higher stuff and he's playing the lower stuff, what you're doing is you're broadening your sound spectrum. So you're separating the highs and the lows, and instead of it just all being lows or it all being highs or all being mids, you're creating a bigger soundscape, and that'll always make your sound bigger.
Yeah. Hey guys, this episode of the Psalm 33 podcast is brought to you by Tick Mike.
Tick Mike has developed a 100% organic formula to fix your tick and mosquito problems. However, not only does this product work on tick and mosquitoes, but it also works on all exoskeleton insects such as gnats and spiders. But don't worry, this product is completely safe for children and pets and will not harm bees or butterflies.
This spray comes in the Tick Mike hose and spray bottle, which is a bottle with a child-proof nozzle on top that connects to your garden hose. That's it. Just plug in and start spraying. One bottle covers a half-acre of land, and 2 bottles will cover a full acre.
Tick Mike is currently offering you guys $10 off on every bottle. If you guys are interested in this amazing product, head over to tickmike.com. That's TICKMIKE.com to purchase your first bottle today for $39.99. Thank you, Tick Mike.
If you have musicians that aren't really skilled, it pushes them to learn new things as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're like, hey, learn these voicings if you can, and then you get better.
And that's like part of the reason Nick has gotten so good so quickly is that, sometimes I'm just like, dude, I'm going to be honest, I really just want to play this one in open G or open C, just real simple stuff. And that forces Nick to kind of go out of the box and find a voicing he wants to play, and what fits the song best.
Yeah.
And that's how we learn from each other,
Yeah.
So,
We video chat sometimes on what we should do
throughout the week. Yeah.
Or even meet up, play, and see what sounds good for Thursday.
Yeah, it's all about prep time, guys. Just really put in the time and put in the effort. And that also comes with we mentioned tutorials. There's nothing wrong with watching tutorials. It doesn't mean you're any less of a musician because you can't figure it out yourself. Tutorials are so useful.
Everything's on YouTube, man.
Everything.
You can learn all those songs that we've been playing. I learned it from YouTube.
Yeah.
And I play guitar from YouTube.
Yeah.
And people post their different ways of playing it. So, like we said, we pick different parts from different people.
Yeah.
And we put it together for our own set.
Yeah, and then sometimes Nick will put his own twist on it. Sometimes he won't play as much as the person played, or there's different ways to.
Another good resource is worship tutorials.
Yeah,
they
shouts out worship tutorials.
They got all the songs you can think of.
Yeah,
for mostly acoustic, they don't have a lot of electric stuff yet.
Yeah, But they're also big Helix users,
Yeah.
which is, you know,
Dude, they're
it's
big
friendly
users
to
of
Nick.
everything. They have
Yeah,
everything.
they do. But they're huge supporters of the Helix, and
Yeah.
Nick has the HX effects, so it's the same patches, same kind of.
Yeah, I just download it. Yeah, if you guys use the Helix, they let you download the patches for like $2
Yeah.
for like a song or just
Yeah.
in general, and you could use that.
And that's super important because
Yeah.
like people think that you don't have to play the parts exactly like the album, and to an extent that's true, but also you have to realize these artists who are writing all, like, they're just writing so much music, they're really writing the parts to be played that way.
Yeah.
They're really taking time, and they're crafting a tone and a sound around
Mhm.
what they're playing. And, you know, clearly they've gone through so many different, you know, they go through different pedals, they go through different effects, and they go through different ways to play the lead line, and they found that is the best option, and that's why they recorded it like that.
Yeah.
You know, they're not writing these guitar parts and in 2 minutes and then they're like, sick, that's on the record. you
Yeah,
know?
that's also what I like about the Helix, because it helps you to, like, for me, I didn't really know anything about pedals, but it helps
Yeah.
me to like learn more of like what the different effects do, how to
Yeah.
dial them in, and worship tutorials, they spend a lot of time dialing it in, like
Yeah.
hours and hours of just getting one patch in for a song
Yeah.
to get it perfect.
Yeah. And you want to try and replicate that sound as best
Yeah.
as possible. And in terms of, you know, learning from those tutorials and stuff, that's going to help you become locked in for your practice before your service, right? So
Yeah.
like if you really watch those tutorials and you really practice them and you really learn them, sometimes I'll say to Nick in the pre-service, hey, actually kind of want to bump this up a half step,
Yeah.
like a key. And you know, Nick is able to do that because he knows the parts. You know,
Mhm.
whether he has to capo up or play different voicings, or,
Yeah.
you know, it's manageable because he's put in the time and effort into practicing.
Yeah. And we couldn't do that years ago. I mean, now
No,
we
not
can
at all.
because our skill level has gotten better. It really just takes time to learn how to play your instrument and mastering it. You know?
Yeah. But, and that, like, I think that's probably one of our biggest focuses, is really just, like, we're big on, like, complementing each other's playings in terms
Yeah.
of voicings and lead lines and stuff. Like, I think my go-to voicings, well, not voicings, but my go-to keys on guitar are, you know, you have your G and your C. I love E. E is so, it's just
Yeah.
super open, and like it's so useful for, you know, if you want to bring a lot of presence to a song through the
Yeah.
guitar. I love D a lot. Nick, you play a lot in A?
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just play whatever is
Yeah,
needed.
Yeah, you play a lot of like bar chords and stuff too.
Yeah.
You're all over the.
Yeah, I basically put time in learning the basic bar chords and
Yeah.
learning the top two strings of the electric guitar, so that
Yeah.
whenever like if we have to change the key of the song, I know the chords up and down the fretboard, so that there's different voicings, you know.
Yeah. And you know, you said the top two strings. Something we love to do is like if we're in a soft chorus or something, you know, you don't have to make a soft chorus big, you know, like respect the different aspects of your song. Like if we're in the last chorus after a bridge,
Yeah.
that's your biggest chorus. That's where you really, you know, you hit it home. That's
Yeah.
the climax of the song. So, you know, that should be your biggest. Then when you come back down, you know, you got to let the song breathe. You got to serve each song the way it's meant to be served.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times we'll go into a soft chorus and I'll just say, hey Nick, throw on an ambient reverb
Mm-hmm.
and just play two strings, like literally just pluck them
Yeah.
back and forth, kind of
Dude.
create a pad.
The most basic things sound so good,
Yeah.
cause like, especially when you're trying to make like a nice ambient stage presence, or if the pastor's talking and you know Ewan's doing like some fingerstyle,
Yeah.
I can go behind and just play like two notes. And
Yeah.
with the nice verb and some delay, and it just sounds so ambient and big, you know.
Yeah. Less is more in that case. Like,
Yeah.
don't try and overdo it, you know, and a lot of times when people try and overdo it, sometimes it can be distracting, and that completely defeats the purpose of what you're trying to
Yeah.
do, leading people into worship.
Yeah,
you know?
especially like when the pastor's talking and you're doing something like so loud. That can be
Yeah,
really
it can be
distracting.
really obnoxious, and
Yeah.
we have to serve the songs, and we have to really remember that it's not about us.
Yep. It's for God.
And we like talking about the musical aspect of worship because obviously God has given us abilities to play instruments, and instruments are a great thing to talk about, but at the end of the day, if we're not leading people into worship, and we're focusing on ourselves and trying to play the coolest things,
Yeah.
that's not what we're about.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's it. Thanks for listening to the Psalm 33 podcast this week. It's been real, y'all. Tune in next time.